One of the biggest border stories this week is why a government surplus company is selling pieces of the border wall from Arizona. We're going to debunk all of that for you today. So this is the post that's gotten everybody talking. This is from a website called GovPlanet. Usually they sell surplus government materials, which can sometimes be things like trailers, other supplies, but in this case, it's pieces of border wall. You can see it says they're from Arizona, and these were set to be auctioned off on December 18th, but this has now been taken down. It's not on that website anymore. Some of the questions this raises is, why are we selling pieces of the border wall, especially because the incoming administration has said that's something they want to continue building, and it could be tax dollars that are being auctioned off here, essentially. So President-elect Trump actually addressed this at a press conference at Mar-a-Lago on Monday. He said, "I'm asking today Joe Biden to please stop selling the wall." He went on to say it's very expensive, and now it's about double the price of what it would have been 6 years ago, and the Biden administration is trying to sell it for 5 cents on the dollar, knowing that we're getting ready to put it up. And what they're doing is really an act. It's almost a criminal act. So he calls it potentially a criminal act, but we also know now this is something that the Department of Defense said that they had to do. They say it's part of the National Defense Authorization Act of 2023. There's a part in there that says if there's excess border wall materials, they have to sell it. So the Department of Defense, they essentially say the way they broke it down is kind of 60-40. 60% of the excess wall went to authorized recipients. That could be Customs and Border Protection, that could be states like Texas or California, and then the other 40% went to GovPlanet. So they did say that some states took them up on that way earlier in the year. So Texas actually purchased some pieces of this excess border wall already. It was just months ago. So this is where our state leaders come in. This is Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, and he has said over and over that if there are excess pieces of the border wall, he wants Texas to buy them and then donate them back to President Trump when he takes office. However, they've run into some issues. So he posted this on December 13th, and Lieutenant Governor Patrick says he was talking with the Texas Facilities Commission, which is the agency that oversees border wall construction here in Texas. So they took a look at these pieces, and Patrick says most of the panels are covered in concrete and rust. He calls them mostly junk. He said there are a couple panels that might be usable, but it's not worth the cost of shipping from Texas to Arizona and back and forth. He says if there are any panels that make economic sense, they are going to buy them and then give them back to President Trump. He also says that this shows Biden was fighting President Trump to the bitter end. As we know, the Department of Defense said they had to do this. It might not have been a political act. But if Texas does end up with pieces of that border wall, and we know that we have over the course of the last year or so when the Department of Defense put them up for auction, those excess pieces, Land Commissioner Don Buckingham says, well, we have a place to put them if they do come here to Texas. She said that if you buy it, I have a place to store it on state land. Now, if she looks familiar, it's because she is also involved in our other big border headline this week. Land Commissioner Don Buckingham offered up a 1,400-acre ranch in Starr County to the Trump administration to be used for a mass deportation facility. We still don't really know what that would look like and kind of how that would operate in the grand plan for mass deportation, but she has offered it up and then followed it up and said if there's other Texas land that could be used for this, we would be willing to lease that to the Trump administration as well. The border czar for the incoming administration, Tom Homan, has taken her up on this offer now. So this is the ranch in Starr County. This is drone footage from the General Land Office here in Texas. He has said that they will use this, although again, still unclear what that's going to look like, but they've accepted the offer. So one of the big questions when we went to this press conference was, is Texas going to be reimbursed for this? This is a very expensive ranch. This is really popular land that a lot of people would want. So Congressman Chip Roy told reporters at that press conference that it'll be his job and the rest of the Texas delegation to make sure that Texas is being reimbursed or refunded for the use of this land. Those are your border headlines for the week. We will see you next time.